Welcome, everyone, to another edition of SmartTips. I'm your host, Tyler Cool, and I'm the sales engineer here at Smart Search. I'm pleased to introduce you to our special guest today, Nicholas Vonderau, or as we know him here at Smart Search, Nico. Nico is a marketing professional who has worked with many companies in real estate, finance, technology, and investment management to build a strong brand identity. And luckily for Smart Search, as of November last year, he decided to join the team here as our Senior Director of Marketing. I'm excited to have you join us for this conversation today, Nico, as it will be all about how companies need to approach their recruiting the same way they do their marketing. So, welcome, Nico.
Oh, thank you so much, Tyler. Yeah, when you told me you wanted to cover how recruiters could create better engagement, I think my first response was to, create better engagement. You have to change the way that you approach how you communicate. And, not just with your candidates, but with your internal teams as well. So, because no matter what your flavor of the month or new keyword is that is popular, it's all about effective communication with your internal teams, your external teams, and with your audiences. So, what's funny about this is that in my career, whether it's been real estate investment, investment advisory or services, loan origination, the inability to properly communicate what value you bring is a problem in all of these industries. It's not unique to recruiters. But what is unique to hiring professionals, whether they're working in, a recruiting firm, part of a corporate HR team, RPO, HRO, executive recruiter, is that most of the time they don't have trouble finding really good candidates. Where they have a problem is either convincing these new candidates to take a position that they are offering, or it's in that they really aren't great with the follow up. So, how do you fix this? Well, it starts with building a method for these different scenarios. And if you want to attract top talent, you have to have a strong brand that speaks to that. So, if you want to stay engaged with these individuals that exist in your database, you have to stay in touch.
Definitely, yeah, I know you bring up a great point there. Communication really is key and vital to better collaboration and really delivering that personalized messaging, which I know we'll get into today. And you bring up a great question for me, which is how can hiring professionals, whether they are recruiting or the person handling human resources for a single company, build that hiring brand?
Oh, great question. Well, for this industry, a strong brand takes the form in two specific ways. The first of these is your employee value proposition, your EVP. It's how you're communicating your core values of your company. And it's becoming more and more important than ever for companies that really want to stay engaged with those millennial and Gen Z demographics. Because for these generations, it isn't just about the salary or the benefits anymore. It's about whether or not their own personal goals match the company goals. So you want them to know what you are all about and how working with you is going to help them accomplish something that's good for them. So your EVP communicates this so that it's easy to understand and get a candidate excited about your own company goals. It communicates to them that there is value enough for them to commit those hours to your cause. Now, secondly, is going to be in your candidate engagement. We already kind of talked about that, but I'm just going to give a little bit of an overview. Like, this is the more complicated of the two. It's got a much longer timetable and deals with a lot of different variables. But luckily, hiring professionals do have these tools at their disposal, which we know is automation software. So whether you're using a CRM, CES, ATS, alphabet soup, these systems are all built on, streamlining how we communicate with internal and external teams. Your candidate engagement is using this information that you collect during your recruiting process to build out that communication in a tailored way so that the candidates you want to hire are staying engaged with you long after they've gotten a yes or no in the hiring process. So what's great about these types of system as well is that if you take the time to properly set your candidate engagement strategy, you can then know that you're staying in touch with these A players automatically. And even if you're not actively trying to place them in a role maybe right now, it gives you a lot of opportunity later on because they know you and they want to respond to you. Because let's be honest, timing is more than half the battle when it comes to placing these individuals, especially when they are so talented, when they have great skills. And, an example I've seen with so many hiring professionals already is that they aren't building that engagement out in a scenario of finding that one placement. They aren't saying to themselves, well, hey, there were three great candidates that we interviewed for this role. You know, we had to choose one, but there are three who could have done this role very well. And it just so happens that maybe in 6 months, we might be filling that role again. But when the 6 months comes around, what did we do? Well, we post out to, our channels. We start that recruitment process all over again instead of just keeping in touch with, you know, these other two that didn't get hired, making sure that they recognize us, that they want to still work with us, and then saying, hey, by the way, that role that you didn't get 6 months ago, well, we actually have one very similar in a different division, and we think you would be perfect for it. Would you be willing to interview with us? It's it's
Yeah,
just
no,
a sensical thing to me, but I generally state that it doesn't make sense until we start to really build out your candidate engagement strategy. So, and the fact of the matter is, when you build that candidate engagement strategy, you have to build it backwards. I know it sounds weird, but you really do have to think about that from a backward scenario.
yeah, you bring up a great point there, Nico. Staying engaged with the candidate and being at the top of mind for them, even after you've placed a position, for another candidate, is really important because, like you said, 6 months down the line, maybe even earlier, another position might open up. That position might need to be filled again, and if you haven't engaged with those candidates in that long period of time, you're not going to be on top of mind. And it's really important to always, reach out to them, stay personal with them, and that really gives us an edge when finding new talents and better ways to fill positions. And Nico, I know this is something that you've actually brought to Smart Search, but for those of our audience who aren't familiar with this, can you give us a quick breakdown of how they might do that, how they can better stay engaged with these candidates?
Yeah, that build backwards mentality when I'm teaching it, no matter what industry I'm in, I normally will tell people to think of that children's game Chutes and Ladders. Rules of the game are pretty simple. You starting at space one, you have to get to space 100. You got ladders helping you accelerate up that board, and you have chutes that set you back to a lower number in that journey that you have. Sounds simple, right? After all, it's a children's game for like ages 5 and up. Yeah. But as soon as I replace the terms ladders with CTA clicks or webhooks, suddenly it's like I'm trying to teach you Monopoly with mortgages, interest rates, incremental rental increases, and 1031 exchanging 4 homes into a hotel. Surprisingly enough, you know, there's a lot of terms that go into that, but at the same time, chutes and ladders, really simple. You go up, you go down based off of the actions that you take. You roll the dice, you get to the space, you see what happens. So when building it backwards means is that you create the engagement with individuals in natural ways that trigger you or maybe one of your team members to move them into that different section of the board. You stay in touch with them through different mediums, but you always build it in ways that get you those hand raisers that are going to move up that list. But you have to remember that there is the shoots side of this too, and that has to be built into this as well. What happens is, you have that really great candidate that you didn't select. Well, you can't just, let them right off into the sunset right now. They're going to get poached by someone else. After all, we are in the midst of some of a talent shortage so great that we call it the war on talent. So you don't want to let those individuals just go off without creating that positive engagement and making sure that you can get them back in and move them to that space 100 as well. So when they don't get the job, there's a few steps that you have to take. Number one, you do have to communicate with them. Do not ghost anybody. You can't just not return their calls. You can't and not tell them that they didn't get the job, because what's going to happen? They're going to unsubscribe to you, and you're not going to be able to get a hold of them again. They're going to block your number. You're not going to be able to reach out to them by text. So, let them down in a positive way, and be honest with them saying, hey, we've got opportunities that are always coming down the track. We really want to work with you. We thought you did so well. The managers loved the idea of working with you, but there was just somebody else that had a little bit more experience in X. And you can be honest about where their, qualifications may lack so that the next time that they go for a position like that, they are educated and know why they didn't get it. The next option after that is just minor touch bases saying, like, hey, there's some really cool opportunities coming down the track. Here's what we want you to know. Next maybe 6 months, we're going to be hiring some more individuals and they're going to be taking on these. Are you still interested? Just gauging their interests, making sure that you're staying on top of that communication track and that they, want to keep engaged with you. As I said before, don't go out there and just all of a sudden say, hey, we're going to post the job again out on LinkedIn. We're going to pay, for different services to get new candidates in without first going back through and engaging with that, audience that you already have in your database that you've already worked for. So before you start spending any money to bring in new people, consider that end goal and who maybe should have reached it.
And I love that analogy of shoots and ladders. It's so fitting for this process because, while there is a start and a finish line, that process going through between the endpoint and that goal, really is a back and forth process. You're going to have shortcuts to move forward with those ladders, and then the shoots to go back down and really start that process all over. So every time you talk about that, I absolutely love that analogy. And I also know you love talking about looking through reporting. And that is one of our key differentiators here at Smart Search is our ability to build a database that makes it easy to track and engage with candidates. What are some ways that recruiters need to gauge themselves, though?
Oh, well, the tried and true statement is that great data is going to help you get great results. That's something that I do love about Smart Search is that our users get to build in those custom fields into their database, and that data, whether it's date in the future or it's the original lead source that you got this really great candidate from, it's in there, it's searchable, and it can be used to filter out your contacts so that you can find similar candidates or go back to someone who maybe you haven't had a touch base with in a while. And it also gives you that really great task assignment capability, which there's so many systems out there that say they do it, but they really don't. Is that task assignment is great, especially when you work with a team of multiple individuals, or even if you're a team of one, where you can say, hey, I want to follow up with this particular contact in 30 days, or set a reminder they're on an assignment for 2 years. Well, 30 days before that 2 years is up, I want to reach out to them. I want to get that notification to say, hey, well, how has the 2 years been? Did you like that assignment? Great. Well, I know it's kind of coming up, and I don't see any notes that they plan on extending that contract. So how about you and I talk, and we'll see what we can get you next? Has your situation changed? Are you looking for something new? It's Smart Search is just kind of taking that further, and so many teams can benefit from this. So many hiring professionals can use this and customize it to the way that they want to work. And it's, do you want to get an email? Do you want to get a text message? Do you want to book an appointment? Well, that's all there. And, finally, what I love is that we take this a bit further at Smart Search is that we have that AI backing, where it is consistently pulling in additional factors and saying, hey, do you want to match this person based off their skills, their level of education, the years of work experience, the field of expertise? Imagine being that candidate on that call where you're saying like, hey, I've got this great contract position. You are the top candidate, and here's why. Reading back the information, saying, hey, Mr. John Doe, we've we've noticed that you have this new certification, and it just so happens that means that you're very qualified for this new position. It's a step up from where you're at. And would you like to talk about it? Please let me know the person that's going to tell you no to that. It's wait, you've, you know, properly maintained my information. You've actually read it back to me and you've stayed in touch. And now you're trying to get me something better than you got me last time. Where do I sign? So, and what's really cool about this too, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say too much about it, is that there's some really cool stuff that we've also got brewing that's going to make this even more of a opportunity for those who actually use Smart Search. So really excited for that part.
It's a really exciting time over here. And, being in the industry for over 37 years, our platform really has evolved to encompass so many wide varieties of engagement tools. And, Nico, I know you just mentioned that we have a lot coming down the pipeline. You really can't leave us with that kind of cliffhanger. Would you mind giving us a little preview of what's to come for Smart Search?
Okay. Well, uh, ask a marketing person to talk about something new. It's greatest weakness. But no, well, with the updates we're making, the services we provide, users are not only going to see a complete transformation in the functionality that is already present within Smart Search, but we are also developing a lot of new features that are going to enhance your candidate engagement so that recruiters and you know, no matter what industry they work in, can build long-lasting relationships when they source new candidates, when they hire these candidates, when they onboard new employees, when they engage with their top candidates in their talent pool that maybe they haven't heard from in a while. And this is going to help make sure that they don't lose opportunities to capitalize and win when it comes to filling those open positions. And you know, I, I want to talk about it so much, and I'm so excited for it. But was that enough of a preview for you, Tyler?
Yeah, that was definitely enough as a preview for us, and that really does sound exciting. The continuous product improvements that we've been able to do over here for 37 plus years is super exciting. And to our audience, you can say you heard it here first on Smart Tips. What's to come next, and just know that we have even more in store for you this year and for the future years. And if you're looking for a system that can help you attract, engage, hire, and engage with top onboard talent, the Smart Search team is here for you. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and thank you, Nico, for the great information you shared with us today.
My pleasure.
Awesome. Please like and subscribe to receive more Smart Search news and resources for hiring better, faster, and smarter. I'm Tyler Cool, and I look forward to speaking with you again very soon.